Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, how are you today? Our topic now is making an inference. In Indonesian, we call it as membuat kesimpulan or penyimpulan. Infer is menyimpulkan. This is one of reading comprehension strategy series. How to infer while reading. Okay, so let's take a look. Inferring is when you read, you can infer or use clues that the author gives in the text and your own background knowledge to understand what the text is really saying. So, knowing how to infer while reading is a fundamental reading strategy that will help you take the meaning of a text deeper. When you infer, you find clues in the text and use what you already know from personal experience or past knowledge to fully understand what the text is about. Good inferences are backed up by supporting details from both the text and personal knowledge. So you can see from the illustration here, what does the text tell me? This is when you have to think. What is my reference? What is my inference? What do I already know about the topic? Yeah, we all have to take those standardized tests where you are presented with a large passage of text and must work your way through the multiple choice problems that follow. And most of the time, you'll get questions asking you to find the main idea, determine the author's purpose, understand vocabulary in context, figure out the author's tone, and the topic at hand, make inferences. So we can say that inference is a decision reached on the basis of evidence in the reading and your own background knowledge. Okay, let's move on. For many people, understanding how to make an inference is the toughest part of the reading passage because an inference in real life requires a bit of guessing. These are some inference questions that you can find in TOEFL problems. According to the passage, we can reasonably infer, or based on the passage, it could be suggested that, or the passage suggests that this primary problem, or which of the following statements is best supported by the passage, or the author seems to imply that. On a multiple choice test, however, making an inference comes down to honing a few reading skills like these. With which of the following statements would the author most likely agree? Which of the following sentences would the author most likely use to add additional support to paragraph 3? So let's do some practices. Clues. Let's start hunting for clues, supporting details, vocabulary, characters' actions, descriptions, dialogue, and more to prove one of the inferences listed is important to help you distinguish inferring from stating the obvious. This is an example. You're looking at the picture of the baby, and you could state the obvious by saying that the baby is crying. Yes? However, a correct inference might include that the baby is tired or hungry. Finally, although inferences are subjective, it's possible for you to draw incorrect inferences. For example, if you look at the picture of the crying baby and say, the baby is probably upset because his brother just made fun of him. Well, I consider that would be incorrect because the baby in this picture is just too young to understand that he was being made fun of. Okay, so using background knowledge of why babies cry combined with the details in the picture makes this a plausible inference. Alright, now we come to the definition of inference. This is an educated guess about the text. Or you can say in other words, you read between the lines. It's not directly stated in the text you're reading. Another definition of inference is drawing a conclusion. This is when you have to make an inference from the outcome of the making an inference. This is also important to help you understand the difference between inferences and predictions. Although you are relatable, you are not the same. When you predict, you guess what will happen next based on what you already know from the text and your background knowledge. When you infer, you make a guess about what is currently happening. A sensible inference for why the baby is currently crying is that the baby is hungry or tired, while a sensible prediction might be that the mom or dad of the baby will come and pick the baby up to soothe him. Definition is when the author or character implies, but you, the reader, infer when you make an educated guess. So, reader infers. How do you know that you are being asked to make an inference? So let's check one of these verbs that will be used. First, the word suggest, and then imply, and then infer, and then reasonably infer, and then suggested that, and then with which would the author agree, and then which sentence would the author most likely use. Yeah, now this is what inferring can do for you. There are several activities that will help you make inferences. First, help you understand that you are already making inferences in your everyday life. Anytime that you come to a conclusion about a specific situation, you are inferring. An easy way to first introduce inferring is to use pictures. Okay, I show you several pictures that lend you to making inferences as a great way to get you to use your inference skills. This is an example. Okay, now let's take a look at this picture. What's the possible inference you can make? You can guess. Just say it. What is it? Yeah, the boy doesn't like the vegetables. So how do you know? What's the evidence? He has a plate of veggies in front of him and a scowl on his face. You might use your own feelings about veggies to understand what he might be thinking. Another fun way is to create mystery bags. Collect several items that you can use as clues to guess where you might be going or what you might be doing. For example, one bag might have a pair of sunglasses, some sunscreen, and a beach towel. You would guess that you might be going to the beach. See, another bag might include ingredients and utensils. Maybe you needed to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now, once you understand the concept of making inferences based on clues, it helps you translate the skill into your reading. Before you jump into longer stories, however, have you practiced your inferring skills using short sentences? Here are some sample sentences where you can be asked to draw inferences. The first, define unknown words using inference context clues. This is the text. My family and I have everything we need. Tickets, popcorn, and candy. So what's the inference? Yeah? That's right. The family is going to a movie. Let's see. Learn about the character. Can please someone read out for me? Okay, yeah, let me read it out for you. My mother had to try to keep track of us. She finally took us and tied us all together so that we would stay together. And that's the way we came off the boat. What kind of inference can you make? Yeah, you, as a skilled reader, can infer from these words of the character about his belief that his mother wanted to keep them safe. Get it? Okay, let's try again. This is about picturing the setting. This is the text. The French town was in shattered ruins. Buildings were jacked short now and rubble was scattered everywhere. So what's the inference? Yeah, that's right. You can infer from the details a picture of this devastation in his mind. Okay, next you draw conclusions and make predictions based on facts. This is the sentence. President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed in a motorcade in Dallas, Texas on November 22, 1963. What's the inference? Yeah, exactly. You may conclude that someone needs to take control of the US government immediately. Another example, let's see here. Sam sat with a puzzled look on his face and then raised his hand in class. What's the inference? Okay, yeah, definitely. Sam has a question or is confused about something. So have you got in mind what inference is now? Let me give you a clearer explanation from this example. We all grabbed our raincoats and umbrellas. It's very simple. What's the inference? Yeah, it's raining outside, of course, yes. Find out the strategy then. This is how you need to apply, yes, this reading strategy to longer stories. Are you using text evidence to support your inferences? Are you using background knowledge and or personal experiences to support your inferences? Or are your inferences logical? Can you clearly justify your inferences? Okay, so this is how we need to apply this reading strategy. The first is from the story clues, and then how we need to transfer from text to self and text to text. Right, this is a final example. It's like a practice for you. This is a super short story, okay, completed with inference. It's hard to live in a studio apartment in San Jose with a man who's learning to play the violin. That's what she told the police when she handed them the empty revolver. Anyone please can make an inference of this text? Yes? What is it? Now, this is how we need to discuss together. Okay, good luck guys. At least you know more about how to infer. The first step is you need to identify an inference question to determine whether or not you're actually being asked to make an inference on a reading test. The most obvious questions will have the words suggest, imply, or infer right in the tag. And you have to trust the passage, okay? Trust the passage. Now that you're certain you have an inference question on your hands and you know exactly what an inference is, you'll need to let go of your prejudices and prior knowledge and use the passage to prove that the inference you select is the correct one. Well, the bottom line, text is not complete without the reader. So this is how and when you need to use inferences on a multiple choice exam, which are different from those in real life. Out in the real world, if you make an educated guess, your inference could still be incorrect. But on multiple choice exam, your inference will be correct. Why? Because you'll use the details in the passage to prove it. You have to trust the passage offers you the truth in the setting of the test, and that one of the answer choices provided is correct without stepping too far outside the realm of the passage. Okay everyone, good luck. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.